Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Mr. Bravo's workshop. In our last episode, which was technically a couple of days ago now for me, we put these stickers on and they have well and truly gone off. I think this ship, it needed it for the Bismarck markings, and yeah, I explained why we didn't put them on the end. The stickers would have to go over protruding plastic parts, and you're probably not going to get a very good fit anyway. Because we're not putting it at one end, I decided not to put it at the other. Although you could probably put it at one side if you wanted to. That's up to you. I'm just showing you how I'm putting the ship together, the easiest way possible for a build if you're a young person doing this ship. So there we are. So the hull is now done. The most of the structures are all done. So I think what we need to do this morning is I think we need to marry these two pieces together and finalize those. So we'll get on to that. I just wanted to mention that when I put these two pieces together, there is a lot of side pressure to pop out, as you can see there. So what I've done, we've got it correctly placed, as in on one side. And then basically what we need to do is I've just tacked off one end in the middle, and then what I'll do is I'll tack off this end, and you can hear it's got a lot of spring in it, and then afterwards we can go down and fix up the rest of it. So now that left side's gone off, I will go ahead and glue the right side. So I just added a bit on here. Now we'll just glue some here. Just dabbing it on, letting it wick through. We'll set that floor down. Give that a minute to go off. So the other two sides are down. There's still a little bit of pressure on this side. So while this one is in, let's just set that one home. So we'll go along and we're not after to flood it. We're just after a few dabs here and there, just to kind of set it off. Take the excess off that one. Just to sort of set it off and get the one side down. So we'll do that all the way through there. And it's sort of wicking through. I can see it every now and then. And the point of this is just concentrate on one side and then sort of worry about the other. So we'll do this one all the way to the nose. Here we go. And while we're there, we'll just hold down the rest of it just to make sure that it all matches in nicely. Got to be a little careful there. The glue is coming out. And if you touch the glue and touch the plastic, well, we all know what happens with that. Okay, so I'll let that go off for a minute. Okay, now that side is all done and glued down rather well. Let's concentrate on this side. It's got a little bit of pressure that needs to fit this one in, so we'll do that now. It just seems to be pressure in one spot. So if we can get that down in the one spot, we should be okay. So let's wick it up first. It's to do with this area here. Take the excess off. Now, I don't want to touch the glue and touch the floor because that'll ruin the floor. I think it's pretty close there. That got it. So we'll just work with that for a minute. So while I'm still hanging on to that, I think I will just work my way along the end here. Although this one looks like it needs to pop up a little bit, so I've got a fair amount of pressure on there. We could probably put another dab just on there. Just here somewhere. I'm just using my knife to hold it down close to the glue so I don't get a finger mark in it. Just to set that off. So as you can see, that's going off. we'll just let that go hard, and we'll give that a few minutes. So that section's now gone off pretty well. We don't really need much on this side, so we'll just go along and we'll glue that anyway. We just kind of want it to wick in. I'm not doing all the way along. The whole point of this is just to sort of glue it down. I'm still working on the edges here. We do need to come in just a fraction just here. So I will put some glue inside of here. Probably even a little more actually. And we'll see if we can close that gap up a little bit with a little bit of side pressure. Yeah, that's working. That's going to take a minute or two to go off that. And I think what we'll also do is we'll drop some, just, didn't mean to get the floor then, but anyway, this stuff won't ruin the floor, as long as you don't touch it. It'll just dry off. Oh, got to get rid of the excess there. We'll come back to where that other point was, somewhere near here. Yeah, that wicked in nicely. So, let's push all that in. So that's almost the front of the floor done. Could use another piece just here. Let's set that off nicely. Again, just be careful with this stuff with your fingers and painted surfaces. The surface looks good, so we don't really want to ruin it from here onwards, although we do know how to fix it. So that looks pretty good. There's no actual real movement in it now, so that's not bad. Let's move on to the rear section of the ship. Yeah, that goes down rather well. Let's just wick that in too. Now we glued from about there, and the rest of this isn't. So we'll just go along and just dab along that, just in case. I can't remember whether I actually glued that or not, so we'll just go along and do it again. All the way to the end. Floor's got a little lift here, so I'll have to hold that down. There we go. Alright, so that's now down. Let's turn the ship around. Now let's just work our way backwards a little bit. So I'm taking an awful lot off the brush before I actually dab it on there. I just really want a couple of dab marks. Oh, that was probably a little much. Anyway, that's it. That's probably enough for that. Probably just needs just a fraction more just here. Let's let that wick in a little bit so we can close it off. Yes, that closes off nicely. Very good. It's not the best of fits anyway, this floor onto the hull, but it's not bad either. It's not the worst I've ever seen. Just kind of working with it. That's it, and that'll close it off nicely. I did say that this kit would have been actually a good option for a floor, and I still say that only because of the many levels. And what I did is I went back and looked up online what flooring you do get in the kits, and you do get all the flooring. So as much as we did a good job on the flooring on, which it does, it looks pretty good. It can bring it up a little bit more with a little bit of flooring. So the hood, I'd say no. This one, I'd say yes, if you wanted to get the flooring. And again, it's your own preference. I didn't really want to put flooring on this one, and this is why I went with this option. Plus, I wanted to show you my take on the wooden floor, and you can see it's got grain in there. It's naturally got a bit of grain by the way we put it on. Some are a little darker, some are a little heavier, some are a little streaky. That's the whole point of putting that colour in underneath, and then you just sort of stress that other colour out on top. I will say though, on camera, it is a little darker than what it is in real life. I can definitely see that. Well, that's pretty successful. That's now glued together as one piece. So from here onwards, we'll call that one piece. Let's get the manual out and see what's next. So our last section of the build was section 18, and we got all that on. We got the floor on. What we have now is section 19 with a lot of pieces on here, which I would traditionally paint black. So I think what we're going to do is take most of them off and start putting a collection together with the very tiny parts of black. And as you know, I mark them in each section and what page they go on so we can do them together. So right now we need a whole section of C18, C22, 18 there, B24, C23. So we'll get all those pieces, and moving on to 20 while we're here, I think we might do those as well, because they're all probably going to be black as well. Let me just think. Yeah, they look like they could be black, just to sort of offset it a bit. Some of these parts you will need off the two sprues. There are two C's in this kit, so we'll need a couple off both. Well, I broke this piece taking it off the sprue. I've just finished gluing it together and pretty much just smoothing it off and just, yeah, anyway, we're there. So I repaired it. So there's our pieces cut off for 19 and 20. Let's put them in the container. Let's mark them up and so we don't lose them. So we already have one black part in here, and there's no denying what it is. So because we've got a black part in it, let's put these in here. They are tiny, so be careful. Where's my tweezers? It's probably easy to pick them up with the tweezers. We'll just drop all these in here. Well, one took off. There we go, you're back. Oh, and another one took off. Wow, having fun here. These are getting almost borderline, very small, these pieces for painting. They don't make for good painting when they're this small, but anyway, so they're all in there. That's 19 and 20 and our sticker, so we know where they go. Section 21. Just double checking the B25. You know, I got that before. Okay, so section 21. We've got the plane. So we've got a few C sections here and a J section, which I did see that before. There's some gluing going on, the props. So that can be a black part. The plane, does it give reference what colour? It kind of does. It's like H there. Yeah, it looks like an O. So we'll have to go back and find out what the O is. Just to get a rough colour. I mean, we don't have to colour it that much. But anyway, I'll think about this a little bit more, but we'll get these parts out. So there's our parts off one sprue, and we'll have to do that by two. And also, while we're at it, we're just going to get that prop, and it's, again, there's no mistaking what it is. So we're going to put that in the black stuff as well. And I've got an idea on this. So I'll get the other items off first. So there's our other items off. What I'm going to do, I'll grab the other prop, which is just here. We'll put that in there as well. I will need to clean that a little bit, but put that in there. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up a dark grey. So the reason I'm going to start up a dark grey is I'm going to suggest that you could probably leave these mostly all grey, and with a paintbrush or an airbrush you can probably paint the wings and the tail, and probably a little bit through here, much like I did in the last one, because they turned out alright. Put the black prop on there, and if you paint these a dark grey, they will also suit it. That's what I'm thinking to make it easier. So if we start off a dark grey section in there, whoops, sorry, and in there, didn't realise you were off the screen there, sorry. So I don't even know if you even got all that. Just in case you didn't get that, so the plane's going to leave this colour, and we'll just sort of put some camo on the wings, just a little bit, just to sort of make them different, and then we'll put some the black prop on there, and that should be enough to sort of say, yeah, they're okay. And the good thing is they look in proportion to the ship. So we're going to put them aside. So we'll put them aside as light colours, and because they're really light, there they are, and they just need a little bit of work on them. So there's those. So all that's left at 21 is really the skid that the plane sits on that runs in and out. That is C172. Let's get that out for a minute. So just skipping forward a little bit, we have C172 for here, which is technically this piece here, and we need C171. So let's take those both off at the same time. And here they are on the sprue. Just wanted to mention, sometimes you see me cutting away from the parts, sometimes you see me cutting close. Pretty much everything on this one here, I'm cutting as close as possible to try and limit the cleaning. Because they are extremely small parts. So just like that. Okay, I've just quickly cleaned those pieces up. I just use a nail file on that. Just sometimes I use both. I use the sanding pad and this. Just depends. Sometimes this works for me, and sometimes it doesn't. So there's our parts. Now let's just think about, and look at the detail even in these tiny little pieces. I mean, let's have a look. There we go. That is fantastic detail for such tiny little pieces. So we know the plane's going to be this colour grey. They're going to have dark grey skids. And so putting the colours together, I think we'll get away with just leaving these the way they are, because the dark grey will come up on these. Just kind of thinking of colours while I'm going along and explaining my thoughts on them. Generally, if one is dark, then I go light, or if one is light, I go dark. Because the planes are technically going to have dark skids, they can go on light, and that'll make your job easier. Looks like we also have two sections of G77 to come off and to actually go on the ship. Actual fact, those skids, we can probably put them on the ship too now, rather than just put them in a box, because we're not waiting for them to be painted. That is a good idea. So we'll take the two G77s off, and we'll get those back out, and we'll fit those. So facing the ship the same as the drawings, don't forget to put these on the right way around. There is one is longer than the other, so they are not the same. You have to put the orientation correctly. Well, I've just fitted this, and you may or may not be able to see the dilemma. There's quite a big arm that's sticking out from the ship, and if this was a 1350 ship, this would be a serious issue with turning the ship around. Because there's only really planes going on this, I'm probably going to even suggest take this off so you're not bumping it all the time. Mine's just sitting there, so you're not bumping it. Now I can't even put it back on. And you could probably even fit the plane to this and then put this piece on. It's really up to you. I'm going to suggest leave that off and the other one, only because it sticks out so far. And it's not that important just yet. So there's our two 77 pieces, and they go on, one will go on here, and the other one will go on just here. And I like the way that the grey with the timber floor there. We kind of messed the floor up just a little bit there. That'll help cover that. And this one here will look quite nice as well. So we'll whack them on. Going to use a little bit of white for that, just to sit them on. They're quite a loose fit, and yeah, just... Actually, no, let's try the other one. So there's one on there, and I did have to glue it twice. The first time was not enough, but yeah, the super thin was alright. Sorry, extra thin. We'll put the second one on now. And there is the other one on. So that was section 2 done. We got 23, 24, 25 and 26 all about the guns. So let's get all those pieces and get them guns going. Some are by 3, some are by 4, and some are by 2. So we're going to end up with a few of these. So let's get on with those. There's all the pieces there. I'm not going to mention all of them. Too many there to mention. I'll just leave the page here for a second so you can have a good look at it. So there's only one of the 23. So it looks like one big cannon on its own. 3 of these ones, and just, yeah. I'm not sure where they go yet, but I was just thinking about it. Anyway, just in case you want to see all the parts, there they are. So there's our first parts off, section 23, which is the one gun on its own. And I'm mentioning this because I was just looking at these. They're going to go on something like this in this direction. And how do we make this simple? Well, I'm thinking of just painting the top here. And you could probably even paint the front, although we can paint just a square up here, leave it light grey here, paint just one section of the torrents, depending how much they stick out, and leave the rest a light grey, and that'd be a nice easy way to paint these without too much hassle. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to put these aside to be painted just like that. So for now, I'm just going to put those parts into my 24 compartment to be touched up and painted, and I'll just leave them in their own compartment. What they don't tell you is you'll have to get one from G-Sprue as well. So there's all our parts for the 3 guns on section 24. We'll clean them up and we'll put them in the 24 box ready for assembly after we paint the tops. But right now, I think we've almost reached time there for today. I hope you're enjoying this build, and it's moving along rather nicely. And hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.